Friends, it's Laura Templeton from 30 Second Success here. If you've ever felt called to start something meaningful, but you talked yourself out of it because it wasn't perfect yet, then today's video is absolutely for you. I'm kicking off a brand new series on YouTube where I'm taking you behind the scenes of how I built my podcast from scratch, what really got me started, and why simplicity is the reason it exists today. This is where I show you how I built the podcast. Now, let's be clear. This isn't the podcast itself, right? This is where I show you how I built the podcast. It's the raw, honest, faith guided journey on how I went from I'll start someday to, okay, Lord, let's do this today. Because too many people are sitting on powerful messages that simply because they're waiting to feel ready. And if you've been around me for any amount of time, you know clarity rarely comes before action. For the longest time, I thought I needed all the things: the perfect studio, a shiny microphone, a content calendar that looked like it came out of a NASA control center. And what God kept whispering to me was, Laura, just speak, right? Not perfectly, not scripted to death, not polished to the point of losing my personality, just speak. And I finally realized something. I wasn't waiting on the right time. I wasn't waiting on the right people to ask. I wasn't waiting on better equipment. Wasn't waiting on strategy. I was waiting on confidence. Something that only comes with when once you start moving, right? It only comes with movement. So one day I sat down, I opened up Zoom and outlined three tiny talking points and hit record. No drama, no production crew, no overthinking. And you know what? It was perfect, but it was honest. And honest connects. That one imperfect recording broke through years of hesitation. Then I started inviting people. I was so afraid that people were going to say no because it was a new podcast and they didn't want to take the time to be on it. And of course, I was totally wrong. I have so many amazing people that I've connected with over the years. I have not heard a no. Well, maybe I heard one only because the timing wasn't right, but it's just, I'm flabbergasted by the amount of people who said yes when I started asking people to be on my podcast with me. So in this YouTube series, I'm showing you exactly what I did. Not the fancy version, not the highlight reel, but the real doable, simplified process. You'll see how I planned my first episodes and kept things simple so I didn't quit. I outlined some questions that would help keep me on track when I was having conversations with people so we didn't go off on a tangent and I could kind of keep it in a reasonable amount of time, because when I get together with friends, we just keep going, right? We dive into the nitty gritty and just really enjoy our time together. So I talk a little bit about why I mixed solo episodes with interviews and why I did that purposefully. And we'll talk about the tools that I use, like Zoom and Buzzsprout and Canva and YouTube and GoHighLevel and all the different podcast bud and my experience with being on the back end of helping them build that, and what that marketing tool does for me and my audience, right? And the people that I'm now connecting with in the podcasting community, and designing assets and tracking my workflow and marketing each episode. I'm going to share all of that with you, and I'm tying it all of this into my work inside the Brand Success Hub. And this is a piece of me that just, I feel like the podcast is just the culmination of what I've been working on in the Brand Success Hub, with sharing people, sharing the people that I get to hang out with, and giving them a platform to share some of their ideas and thoughts, and what drives them and some of the decisions that they've made. So this is everything I wish someone would have shown me before I got started, so I got started sooner. So here's what I want someone out there to hear. Sometimes God gives you a vision that doesn't make perfect sense until you start walking it out. You need to be walking in that vision. You don't need a flawless plan. You need willingness. You need courage. You need to trust if he called you to speak, your voice is already equipped for the assignment. I don't know how many times I had to remind myself of that in the process and wished I had started sooner. So, if you are thinking about starting a podcast or any message driven platform, start here, right? Define what you want your voice to mean to people, not your topic, your impact. Keep your tools simple. Start with what you have. Outline your first 2 or 3 ideas, nothing fancy, just clarity. Hit record before you feel ready. Clarity comes through action, not before it. So let your first version be your imperfect teacher. It's not supposed to be polished, it's supposed to exist. So, if this video encouraged you and you want help getting started, I put together a free podcast clarity checklist to help you map out your purpose, your message, and your first few episodes. And you'll find that in the show notes below. And if you want templates, tools, and deeper guidance, you'll find everything inside the Brand Success Hub, where we help purpose driven leaders communicate with clarity, confidence, and compassion. So, make sure you're subscribed to this series, this playlist, so you don't miss the next video. Make sure you subscribe to the 30-Second Success podcast so you can hear from the very beginning how imperfect and how perfect every episode is. So you've got a voice that matters. Let's get it out into the world. I'm Laura Templeton, and I can't wait to hear your message.